We're back, people, and today we're bringing on film on the Miami Dolphins first team offense. Got a drive going in this first game. It's the first, time we've seen Tua this year. And I just think, the first team offense was clicking on all cylinders. I really liked this drive because it was a very methodical, long play drive. McDaniel ran the ball on 3rd and 4th short situations, which I know people love to see. The play calling is going to be very basic because it's the preseason. But I like that they were still able to move the ball down the field. Obviously, you're going to, it's not the full first team. Like, you have some backup alignment in. You have backup receivers in for the most part. But we got to see Tua, the running backs, the tight end group, and see how they're being used. Very interesting across the board. I love the Jonnu Smith usage. I liked how Julian Hill looked out there. Tua really played efficient. I think he was looking very, very consistent. And I think he showed some things, like he showed some plays, like this play, or the play after this, where he rolls out to his right is probably the most comfortable I've ever seen him look, rolling out to the right. Has pressure in his face, quick release, just like the awkward arm angle of it too. All just super, super impressed with those types of plays. Here you can see the back end zone angle of it. But yeah, and then we'll see the touchdown where he threw an absolute dime at the end. But here we go. First play, classic seam rail slide RPO. This is a funny one because last year into his first preseason snap, this was the play that they called. And I remember I called this out on stream as I was watching it. And then McDaniel mentioned it later on. I was like, oh yeah, the seam rail slide, our go-to RPO play to a throw pick. And they came out right away, went to it. Tua just, reading these defenders. This guy's still within the box. And he just, boom, him and River on the same page. Love that. Him and River finding that soft spot. He just has such a good feel for space. And when his receivers have that feel too, it's really, really nice. He doesn't even waste any time. I love how quickly he just gets into it. Doesn't need to set his feet. He just realizes what's going on. And he gets that nice completion. Craycraft looked really good. Hopefully, I know he went to the locker room after this drive, so hopefully he's good. But he looks very solid out there. I think he's definitely like that probably your number 3 until OBJ comes back. So that's nice to see him getting involved. And then just quick passes. It was nothing too crazy. We know we can push the ball down the field, get big plays. But it's nice to see have a nice, consistent drive. I think that's going to be very important for this Dolphins offense, especially when you don't have players like Tyreek and Waddle in the game. It's just making quick decisions. They, motioning Jonnu Smith across, see him getting out of the flat, and you're just reading this leverage defender. You see number 4 go over the top of Craycraft. If this guy cuts underneath, you try to hit River. Since this guy's going over the top, you have the space. He reads that, boom, hit Jonnu Smith, pick up about 5 yards on the play. That's just a good, quick decision. I feel like this was a very, it's the preseason, so you take it all with a grain of salt, but I love how comfortable Tua looked. That was like the biggest thing. He didn't look panicked at all, which I think, was really helpful. This was a little wrinkle that I saw. We're just going literally by each play, some are more to break down than others. Here's like the first running play. Look at this little motion. This is something a little new that I saw here. He takes like 1 step shuffle to the inside. Almost looks like he's false starting, but like this is a planned play. Boom. 1 shuffle to the inside. Maybe he'll go across or work back out. Usually if they do this, they start going back out. But he starts going, like the ball snapping as he goes back out. It just gets him a better angle. Like, look. He already has the natural inside leverage, but now it just gives him more inside leverage to now cut off this defensive end. Julian Hill. Plus, Julian Hill, man, he is such a dynamic blocker. That's a defensive end he's able to push. Look at him strain to get there. And then Raheem's able to pick up 5. And then Durham is also, like, working up in to meet another second-level defender. Does a decent job there. Would have liked to see us run the ball a little bit better throughout this game. I think Kendall Lamb did a good job there. It's like, it is a preseason. We have backups in, but the running game, I think, was something I wanted to see a little more explosiveness out of. But I do expect as the season goes on. Here's a 3rd and 1. We run the ball. It just doesn't get blocked up. We have Jonnu Smith in line. This is like, Jonnu Smith looked good as a receiver, but you're not going to have him in line very often. This is where you have like Julian Hill, and he just loses his battle, and they're not able to get that first down. But then the next play, it's 4th and 1. They go back to their other tight ends. They go back. They're still in 12 personnel. They put a lot of 12 personnel. The receivers out there, when they had receivers, were Malik, Craycraft, and then Barrios was in the slot. They kept playing. I think that's a good sign for those guys making the roster. But they're able to block this up much more consistent. They had Robert Jones at left guard, Eichenberg at center, Jackson was right tackle, and Cotton is right guard, and then Kendall Lamb left tackle. They do a decent job. Get it up there. Nice finish. I just like seeing the commitment to that run game in those areas of the field. And then here's Jonnu Smith on the quick jet sweep, little toss, little pop pass. When you can run this stuff to a tight end, that adds some great versatility to your offense because you already have players you can run that to. But now you have to make defense respect these types of plays to the tight end out there. And either they're going to give up, nice 8-9 yard gains, or they're going to have to start respecting it, and that will open up other things. We saw mostly Mostert. We saw a little bit of Achane on this first drive, but in my opinion, I mean, Achane played later on too, and he looked like the better back. I still think he is the better back. This was like his only carry, I believe, on this drive. He picked up, it was a 2nd and 1, I believe, here, and he just, got the first down very quickly. Wasted no time. Nothing really too much to break down. Just, good vision. I think he showed, like, later on, I might do some, videos later on that where he looked good as a receiver. He looked like he was just tougher to bring down overall. I think Achane is going to be absolutely amazing this year. Then we got the Raheem. You try to get to the edge. Just doesn't work out. I'm not sure what the plan was here. I think they were trying to probably create a cutback lane, but it wasn't blocked very well in the middle, so Mostert was kind of forced to block to the outside, and Malik was more like kicking out his guy, like he was going to work off to the inside of him, but since he ran to the outside, it just gives him that natural, way, and he just didn't get anything, which is, no big deal. I think, they respond pretty nicely. Then we get to that play I was talking about. My favorite play from Tua. He's really good at selling these, like, play actions. I think, the ball handling skills is really good from Tua. After some quick runs, designed plays where Tua does get involved. After the first few plays, he gets back into the action, sees that this guy's going to be left unblocked into his face. I think Washington did a really good job versus the Boots. He recognizes it. This is the most comfortable he's ever looked in this situation. We've seen it before. And then he just, boom, sets his feet. You can tell his mechanics are better. He's way smoother, way more natural. And just, boom, quick release. And then it's also the awkward arm angle. And also, great job from Julian Hill finishing this run hard. The ball comes loose at the end, but I think he was down, so it wasn't a fumble. I think that is something Hill needs to work on, though, like being a little more careful with the ball. But love the ball handling. And boom, look at the quick little sidearm quick toss. The release is so fast and still just perfectly accurate right to Julian Hill. Gets his momentum to flip upfield, and then he finishes hard. Love that from Julian Hill. I think Julian Hill is another player we're going to see a pretty big, like one of the bigger jumps from year 1 to year 2, because I already know I think he's going to be a better and just more consistent blocker. He was already a good blocker, and then I think we're going to see more of those types of plays in the receiving game where he can show off some play strength, because he's going to try to run you over, and then yeah, so this is another 3rd and short situation. You don't pick up the first down, so at least they were running it on 3rd and short. And then after this is that throw to Craycraft in the end zone. They actually threw it. So they had 4 situations where it was a short situation where you can run the ball, and they threw it. They ran it on 3 of them and threw it on 4. And I feel like that's a percentage that I like to see. Like, you don't have to run it every single time, but I do think it should be at least 3/4 of the time run that ball. It doesn't work here. I think with our starting O-line in, the running game would look much more consistent. They're getting rid of the ball very quickly in the passing game too, which obviously makes sense with the O-line, not being all of your great players out there. It doesn't work out. And then we'll get into that final play where the absolute dime from Tua to Craycraft. Okay, so for this clip, we got the Tua to Craycraft touchdown. For some reason, they don't have the All-22 yet on NFL, film, but it's basically, pretty easy. Tua reads one-on-one at the bottom, just delivers an absolute dime to River. River does a great job creating separation, sliding, getting that guy open, and that's where you want to do it. Give your receiver the best chance. That's an absolutely beautiful throw. Can't show this clip too much because then I'm going to for sure get copyrighted. So just showing that real quick. But really, really enjoyed what I saw from the entire first team unit. I thought they looked nice, efficient. Those are really good things to see. And then, and then we'll definitely have more film breakdowns, but I'm rating. For some reason, they only released literally like part of the first quarter, and that's it so far. So we'll see what else I can get out today. If not, I'll just have a bunch out tomorrow. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get some copies.